We've had this huge debate about mass incarceration, and it seems to be overwhelmingly about race and a vestige of the past discrimination of the United States, these historical patterns, the mistreatment of African Americans. But I've had a problem with that narrative, even though I fundamentally agree with it. But I have been complicated by the fact that in Atlanta, for instance, the young African-American man who goes to prison for an overly long sentence for an offense that doesn't seem to merit that, there's a relatively high probability that he was arrested by a black police officer, prosecuted by a black lawyer, sentenced to that long term by an African-American judge. And so there is this complication. Is this just about race, or are there other things at work?
So I'm really interested in the hidden forces that shape the behavior of detectives and judges and jurors and witnesses and others in our criminal justice system. And so in each chapter I look at a different one of these characters and I contrast the conventional stories that we tell about how these people make decisions and where things can go wrong with what the latest evidence from psychology and neuroscience has to say. So I think, you asked the question, is this all just about race? And the answer is no, it's not just about race. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. And the stories that we tell about how race comes in and causes problems in the criminal justice system are limited. They're not the total story. So I think the conventional stories that we tell about racial injustice is that our police forces are still filled with bigots, right? The real problem is racial animus among judges and jurors and witnesses. And I don't think that is the case. So in writing this book, I did ride-alongs with police officers, I met with lawyers, and I looked at the science about discrimination. And what that science says is that racial animus is probably not the big problem that we face. Rather, the problem is endemic stereotypes, damaging stereotypes that we've all been exposed to by watching television, by reading books over a period of decades, and which link concepts like violence or crime with blackness. And so these implicit forces then shape real-world behavior, things that have very serious consequences for minorities, say interactions with a police officer. Now, what the research suggests is these implicit stereotypes, these attitudes that are racialized, can impact things like how quickly someone goes to their gun, whether someone sees an ambiguous object in someone's hand as a cell phone or as a weapon. And so I think that that's probably why we're seeing the disparate impacts that we do across the legal system. Are there still some explicitly bigoted people in our police departments? Yes, but if we got rid of every one of those people, we'd still have racially disparate impacts, and we need to face up to, I think, the true causes of that injustice.
From the University of Virginia's Miller Center, this is American Forum.